Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, a Georgia jury has reached a verdict in the trial of 3 men accused of murdering Ahmaud Arbery last year. CBS's Natalie Brand has the late details from Brunswick, Georgia.
Malice murder.
There was a brief outburst in the courtroom as the judge read the verdicts.
Guilty.
And cheering as word reached the crowd outside.
Count 4.
Travis McMichael found guilty of malice murder, and all 3 defendants convicted of felony murder in the killing of Ahmaud Arbery.
Greg McMichael, guilty.
During the trial, Travis McMichael claimed he shot the unarmed jogger last February in self-defense.
He has not threatened you?
No.
Hasn't pulled out a gun?
No, ma'am.
Hasn't pulled out a knife?
He did not.
McMichael testified his father, Gregory McMichael, told him to grab his gun before they chased Arbery through Brunswick, Georgia, in an effort to make a citizen's arrest, believing he had committed a crime.
These are real experiences of real people who were very scared.
Prosecutors argue it was not a citizen's arrest since the 3 men had no direct knowledge of a crime being committed.
You can't make a citizen's arrest because someone's running down the street and you have no idea what crime they have committed that day.
This is the scene outside the Glynn County Courthouse shortly after the verdict was read. Demonstrators who have been here since the start of the trial have called for justice for Ahmaud Arbery.
I've been here 30 years. 30 years. And to get this outcome right now, it's a blessing.
Arbery's mother thanked her supporters.
It's been a long fight. It's been a hard fight, but God is good.
State of Georgia versus
The 3 defendants all face life in prison. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Brunswick, Georgia.
Neither Brian nor the older McMichael testified during the trial.
Seeing a few clouds increase on this Thanksgiving Eve out there as we continue to sneak closer and closer to sunset. A quick check of the roads out there. I-75 at London. Of course, our very own Zach Hawk will have a more in-depth report in just a few minutes. You see just one area, one time frame where we saw some heavier traffic on the interstate there in London. Otherwise, it's been smooth sailing throughout the day with plenty of sunshine. Up north, I-64 at Moorhead, still seeing high clouds there. Traffic moving smoothly there as well. So it's been a rather peaceful day on the roads, at least so far, despite the high volume of traffic as we get closer to Thanksgiving. Temperatures out there, they've warmed quite a bit. A lot of us knocking on 60's door, at least within a few degrees. Irvin's the warm spot at 59, mid-50s around much of the mountains as we've gone through the daytime hours today. We're at 55 right now, in fact, here in Hazard. You see some of those high clouds working in from the west. That is along our warm front and just behind it as we've seen that already move through today. So keep that WYMT weather app handy, even if you're headed out on those roads tonight, because we will continue to increase the cloud cover, which will keep temperatures capped above freezing as we head into the nighttime hours tonight. But notice those clouds get a little bit thicker as we head towards the daybreak hours. I'll have the latest on what that means exactly for our Thanksgiving Day itself coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. As we all get ready to enjoy Thanksgiving, travelers from around the country are using I-75 to get to their destinations. If you're one of those hitting the road this holiday season, officials say to be alert for delays and changing traffic patterns. WYMT's Zach Hawk is in London now live with a good view of the interstate. How's the traffic been today, Zach?
Well, Steve, Evan was right. It has been moving out here, but it is also definitely crowded. And I ran into a few people at a gas station earlier who were telling me that there are some areas both north and south of London where the traffic has really been slowing to a crawl. Kentucky State Police and highways officials are telling us travelers will need to pack their patience this weekend. Traditionally, Wednesday before Thanksgiving is the busiest travel day of the year. During the pandemic, those travel numbers decreased, but with vaccinations widely available, people are getting back to their normal holiday plans.
It's the holidays, and people love to go see people and hang out with people. And, you know, they've been cooped up for the last year or so hopefully people can spend time with their families.
So highways officials told me that this stretch behind me can see as many as 50,000 people a day this time of year, and that while there are a few construction projects going on in the area, they've all been shut down for the long weekend. Live in London, Zach Hawk, WYMT Mountain News. Back to you, Steve.
All right, Zach, thank you very much. Certainly some good news that they've put those construction projects on hold for the holiday weekend. Well, now we move from the roads to the skies. Crowds at airports across the country prove the Thanksgiving travel crunch is in full swing on all fronts. The TSA estimates around 20 million people will fly for the holiday and anticipates the Sunday after Thanksgiving will likely be one of the busiest days U.S. airports have seen in a long time, with air travelers returning home. However, they warn travelers to expect long lines no matter which day they fly this week and encourage people to show up earlier than usual. Hazard's Maple Street Church of God gave away food and clothing to folks in the community today. The event, called Appalachian Christian Ministry, was in partnership with Men and Women of Action, a nonprofit that helps churches nationwide. The event, which has come to this church before, selects one Church of God in the Appalachian region to host the distribution event every year. Those involved say the effort helps people out in a big way.
I've heard through the grapevine that this is more than $500,000 worth of product that's been shipped in here, and we've got people from 7 different states that's converged on Hazard, Kentucky, just to help us bless our community. It's an amazing event.
The pastor said the church saw more than 2,000 Eastern Kentuckians receive blankets and clothes and more than 400 boxes of food. A unique business in Laurel County has been gaining traction. DLC Custom Guitars began back in 2019, hand-making a variety of instruments from scratch. After seeing a strong response from the community, owner David Jackson became full-time in 2020. Despite the past few years being difficult for many local businesses, Jackson says that has not been the case for him.
I still get orders month to month to month. Actually, when I quit my job back in May 13th, I had all my bills paid up to December, like right off the bat, and I'm still continuing to get orders.
Jackson has made a total of 15 guitars so far. UPS is gearing up for a hectic holiday season with a hiring spree. Millions of packages handled daily turns to millions more, which requires a far larger workforce. That's where seasonal work comes in, work that for some like Quandrick Sumler in Louisville is the first step to a career with the company. Sumler himself has been with the company for 18 years, and his story is one of many.
I couldn't even tell you that I was going to have a college degree back then, let alone, having a long career with UPS.
A third of our employees actually started as seasonal employees. So that to me speaks opportunity, right?
The Kentucky Chamber says UPS is not alone in their hunt for hires, saying there are jobs available at businesses big and small. They add the state economy may be stronger now than it was even before the pandemic. A fresh sign the U.S. job market is bouncing back from the pandemic's recession. New data from the Labor Department says weekly claims for unemployment benefits are below pre-pandemic levels. Last week's jobless claims, adjusted for seasonal swings, totaled 199,000. That is the lowest level in 52 years. Some economists say layoffs are hitting new lows as employers take measures to attract and hold on to workers. Let's head over to Wall Street now on this Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve. The Dow closes down more than 9 points. We'll have more financial news in our next half hour. But straight ahead here on First at 4, NASA launches a rocket with a special purpose, why they have no intention of recovering it.
And rain returning at the worst possible time, but a predictable time nonetheless. I'll have the very latest on the way.